Welcome back to Axis Anime. My name is Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough review of Magi episode 22. Now, if you remember from last episode, we find out Aladdin's group is now in the dungeon, and they're face to face with the 61st Dajin, and his name is Zagan. Now, I'm just going to call him Z, because I love calling people by their first letter of their name sometimes, if their name bugs the hell out of me. So, Z in general, who is the 61st Dajin, is face to face with Aladdin's group, and guess what? Z is a total fucking douchebag. In fact, Z kidnapped the girl which was outside that the prince made a promise to, and the only way that Z is going to let this girl go is if they actually make it to the treasure room. So if Aladdin's group cannot make it to the treasure room in time, I really don't know what's going to happen to this girl, but I think she's going to become a sapling like the rest of the villagers. So I guess we'll sit down and we'll find out. Hopefully it'll be a good outcome. We don't really know. But moving on past that, toward the end of the episode, we find out the prince from the Ku Empire has a nervous breakdown when this 61st Dajin tells him, "You're useless, this group does not need you, get the hell out of my dungeon." And I thought it was kind of harsh words, but you know what? I kind of feel where this Dajin was coming from, and I kind of agree with him to an extent. But you know what? This prince from the Ku Empire breaks down, starts crying, and I was like, what? Okay, first of all, you're a prince from the Ku Empire. You may not have your own Dajin, but you have one hell of a technique called Kai, and I like this kid. He's got he's got enough power in my opinion. But he breaks down and he starts fucking crying. And I just lost all respect. Now, obviously, Alibaba tries to cheer him up and it kind of works. However, at the end of the episode, we are taken to a different scene. And guess what? Judel is outside, but not outside of the dungeon. That's what I assumed. He's actually outside of Sindria. And he's smiling. But again, that's where the episode ends. And I'll hold my final thought and rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But let's dive right on in. So we open up this episode with the prince from the Ku Empire, and he wishes to fight alongside everyone. And Alibaba actually says yes, welcome to the group. Not like a formal introduction, but more or less, we could use your help. I mean, he's in the dungeon. Why not? You're here, help. I thought it was kind of funny how he just came out and said that. However, we are taken to a different scene with Judel, and he's getting ready to attack Sindria from the outside. And all I can say is this is not what I thought where he was at. Again, I thought Judel was outside of the dungeon that was where Aladdin's group was at, but my bad, I was so wrong. Again, Judel is outside of Sindria, or more or less he's right above Sindria, kind of flying in midair per se, and he's getting ready to attack Sindria. But again, that's where we open up with. Moving on past that, we are taken to a different scene with Aladdin's group, and they're going deeper inside the dungeon, and they're trying to make their way to the treasure room in order to save this little girl. And out of nowhere, Zagan, which I call him Z appears out of nowhere, and all I can say is he's throwing more obstacles in their paths per se. So he doesn't really show up within the anime series yet, although he's watching everything from a fucking screen, and he's sending all these obstacles in Aladdin's way and everyone else's way. And we find out the next obstacle are wolves. In my opinion, they look like demonized wolves because of the red glaring eyes they have, but these wolves are thrown right at Aladdin's group, and I thought this was going to be World War III all over again. I'm like, what's going to happen? So we're taken to a different scene with Yuma. Now, Yuma or Yama, depending on how you want to pronounce her name, I'm going to call her Yama because it's kind of more funnier that way. Now, we open up this scene with Yama, and she's using her magic to watch Aladdin's group from a distance, in Sindria. That's how she's keeping Sinbad up to date on what Aladdin's group is actually up to. And she says they're completing the dungeon smoothly. I'm like, what do you consider smoothly? Having your ass handed to you on a silver platter, or watching the prince from the Ku Empire cry and shit his pants? I mean, smoothly? Really? Smoothly is where you go from point A to point B without any fucking pauses, They're going from point A to point B, C, D, E, Yeah, it's not easy, in my opinion. However, we are taken to a different scene with, I'm going to call her Y from now on, because I'm sick of calling her by her fucking name. It's hilarious. No, I'll call her by Yamu. But anyways, we're taken to a different scene with Yamu, and she notices the barrier around Sindria has been attacked. It's broken. It's no longer there. There's like a little hole right above Sindria. And we find out it's Judel. Like I mentioned before, Judel does attack Sindria, or at least the barrier that was protecting, Sindria in general. And it's kind of messing with Yamu's power she has, or magic, that's keeping track of where Aladdin's group is at. Which, that kind of sucks, but you shouldn't be watching them anyways. You should have got your ass right out of Sindria and helped them instead of watching them from a distance, which doesn't make any sense in my opinion. However, we are taken to a different scene with Jafar, and right off the bat in previous episodes, I always put Jafar down because you know, if you've seen Aladdin, the Disney movies that came out like not that long ago, well, I should say a long time ago they came out for Disney, but they've been remastered over and over again. But sorry, I digress. But anyways, Jafar, in my opinion, is supposed to be a villain. But within this anime series, Jafar, yeah, he's Sinbad's bitch, more or less. But remember, Jafar is an assassin that works for Sinbad. And guess what? Jafar notices Judel entering Sindria and he attacks him. He uses his household vessel right off the bat, which I thought was well worth mentioning, because I believe we've only seen it so far. We've only seen Jafar use his household vessel once, so we get to see his vessel being used again. But his household vessel doesn't do any damage whatsoever on Judel, so I thought that was, I guess worth mentioning. But you know what? I'm giving you points, Jafar, because at least you're trying. I don't see anyone else giving a damn. They're just sitting back and watching. Now, the only reason why Judel attacked Sindria, at least the barrier, and plowed his way in, was to talk with Sinbad one-on-one, a mano a mano. However, we are taken to a different scene with Aladdin's group, and they're actually being, well, they're fighting these wolves still. I thought, come on, these are just wolves that look like they're demon eyes, with the red glaring eyes, and I thought this would be a general pushover. Now, Aladdin's group is working really good together right now. I mean, the prince is owning up. Morgiana is getting stronger. I love seeing this fight going on with the wolves. And again, their team is amazing. But we're taken to a different scene with Morgiana. And her footwork is like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, no, I'm not even going to describe it. It's fucking amazing. I just was blown away when I see Morgiana's footwork as she's attacking these wolves left and right. And she's on fire. Literally, she's on fire. I don't know how else to describe it. She's on fire. Let me say it one more time for dramatic effect. Okay, I'm ready. She's on fire. There, I said it. Again, Morgiana was on fire. And she's getting all, I don't know, motivated. She's paying attention more. I don't know what's about her. She's just hands-on, She's getting really involved with this fight. And then her shackles start to light up. Yeah, her household vessel, or her anklets as well, they start to light up, but they're not doing anything yet. They start to light up, but we're taken to a different scene with Judel, and apparently Judel is asking Sinbad, what does he think of Aladdin? I was like, why are you asking Sinbad what he thinks of Aladdin? I mean, it's obvious that he likes the kid if he's helping him out. He hasn't done anything bad to him. He hasn't abused him, not that I'm aware of. Why would Judel ask that kind of question to Sinbad? What do you think of Aladdin? I mean, at the most, I thought, what do you think of Alibaba would have made more sense. However, we are taken to a different scene with Judel, and he's throwing us with a little bit of information, which actually is kind of helpful in my opinion. Apparently, Judel is describing why Aladdin is so special, because right now there's only 3 Magi on this planet, and there can only be 3 Magi in total. That's how it's always been in the history books, 3 Magi. So what's up with Aladdin making the 4th Magi? It just doesn't make sense. So he's describing each one of the Magi that he knows of. Obviously, Judel is Magi number 1, and this is in no particular order. Again, the first Magi is Judel. The second one, her name is called Rem, and she's referred to as a hag, so that usually that means she's an old lady. So you have Judel, Rem, and a mysterious Magi, which we don't know his name, or if it's a guy in general. I would assume it's probably a guy, because we see a shadow-like figure of him. So this third Magi is a guy, and he creates dungeons. I believe that's what the subtitle said. So this third Magi creates dungeons and he wanders around. Now, where does Aladdin come in? He's the 4th Magi? Something's up. This is a first. So Aladdin's kind of unique. Now, apparently Judel also points out if there's 4 Magi, that can't be. So one of the original Magi is going to die probably, or more or less will die in order for Aladdin to replace them. And he has yet to see any of the other Magi die. And he doesn't know if he's going to be next or what's going to happen, but he's a little on edge, if that makes any sense. He's on edge. He's not scared, but he's not in a good state of mind. So we're taken to a different scene with Judel, and he actually wants to join Sinbad, or more or less wants Sinbad to join him. And yeah, guess what? Sinbad, no surprise here, he says no. I mean, yeah, obviously he's going to say no because Judel's a prick, in my opinion. But Sinbad does point out it's because of Petriva, the Petriva thing, and we have no idea what the fuck Petriva is. I'm assuming it's from a different country probably, or some little incident that involves the military or something along that lines that has to do with Judel in general. But again, that's why Sinbad says no, and we're taken to a different scene with Judel, and he claims he's a victim of Al-Thaman. Oh, get the fuck out. Really? Now you're playing the innocent little prick? Nah. Judel, I don't believe you for a goddamn second. And he's playing the sympathy card right now, which I thought was hilarious because he's the last person I thought on Earth would fucking use it. And he points out the organization that he works for took him from his parents when he was a child just so he could become a Magi, which, again, so fucking what? You could do anything you want now. Now that you're a fucking powerful Magi, you're not doing a damn thing. In fact, you're still working for the organization that took your parents away from you. So, I'm not crying. In fact, I'm giving you the middle finger. There you go. That was my middle finger to you, Judel. Don't like you, man. I still call your BS, even if that is a true story. You're laughing it off. First, you were kind of playing the I'm the weakling card, and now you're playing the okay, I don't give a damn card. This is where I'm at now. And I'm like, okay, so you're a two-faced bastard. I got that, but sorry, I digress. Moving on past that, he also points out the organization sent people to the island, the Tauren Island. Yeah, so the island that Alibaba and everyone else is on, and they're inside the dungeon, they're going to have company from the organization. So guess what? Alibaba and everyone else, they're not safe. Now that the organization is after them and that they're actually there and like they're there in general, shit's going to hit the fan, and I can't wait to see this. Plain and simple, I can't wait. Now, we are taken to a different scene back on the island with Zogin, yeah, the 61st Dajin. Now, apparently, Aladdin points out part of this Dajin must be burnt off or something because he's not the Dajin. He can't be. He's not acting nice because all Dajin are somewhat nice. And just something does not feel right. So Aladdin's the one that figures this out. That part of this Dajin, like some part of this Dajin is kind of burnt out, if that makes any sense. It does to me. I mean, I don't know. Most of the Dajin we've seen, the little ones we've seen within the anime series, are nice. They give a damn. So we're taken to a different scene with Aladdin, and he's asking the Dajin who he is and what he is. I'm like, Aladdin, you actually asked the right questions for once. And guess what? This Dajin called Zogin, he throws in the towel and he says he's not the Dajin of this dungeon. He's the dungeon creature that the Dajin created. So the actual Dajin of this dungeon created this guy, or this creature, and made him in his own form just to fuck with people, and that's a sick joke, but I like it though. And apparently he's a dungeon creature, so he's not even an actual Dajin. I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense why he's a total fucking douchebag. So we're taken to a different scene with this fake imposter, and he claims the whole village thing, the villager thing, was just a prank. How the fuck is taking villagers into the dungeon and making them into saplings and having their Magio sucked away, their own life force sucked away, a goddamn prank? If that's a prank, I'd hate to say, I would really hate to see him get serious. Because if that's a prank, when he gets serious, then the shit will most definitely hit the fan. And I would not want to be around to see it. Although, if Sinbad's in the room, I want front row seats to this fucking fight. Now, we are taken to a different scene with Alibaba. And you know what? More power to you, man. He chops off this fake imposter's head. And I love every moment of it. But this fake imposter's head grows back on. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Really? This is the first time Alibaba got a clean blow that actually makes sense. And this imposter has his head grow back. Apparently, while this imposter is in the dungeon, he can regrow any parts he wants back because he can't die, because his master, which is the Dajin of this dungeon, is part of the earth, more or less. You know, he's like the master of all things earth related and whatnot. He's like Mother Nature in a nutshell, which means he can grow all of his parts back no matter how many times you slash and kill him. So Alibaba, you're fucked. I said it, you were thinking it. See, I just went there. So we're taken to a different scene with this fake Dajin, and now he has multiple clones of himself. What? He can multiply? Get the fuck out of here. So now it's all over. I'm like, ah, god damn it. And everyone is now attacking all of these clones of the fake Dajin. And then we see Morgiana and Aladdin. They're on fire. They come to the rescue. But you know what? This fake Dajin sets up a trap, and apparently this fake Dajin's real form is located at the end of this trap, which is like in a huge pit, and Morgiana and everyone else are thrown right into it, and they're falling to their doom right into this trap. And I'm like, oh god damn it, this is not what I wanted to see. So we're taken to a different scene with Morgiana, and guess what? Her shackles, yeah, her anklets are now glowing, so her household vessel is now activating in part, not in full, just partly. And I thought, okay, this is definitely interesting. And her chains, as they're falling, her chains grab onto the wall as well as everyone else, so they're saved by Morgana's, you know, her household vessel, kind of. And I thought this was definitely worth mentioning. And guess what? She starts to climb the walls, and they get out of the pit. I thought, okay, this is sweet. So now everyone's out of this little trap, and they're back up top. And Morgiana, yeah, she doesn't stop there. In fact, she's prepared to defeat this little creature that's the fake Dajin that's at the end of this pit, and she leaves everyone else up top, and I thought that was definitely worth mentioning. And she goes right back into the pit to defeat this little monster. Again, I call it little monster because at the end of this little tunnel, per se, this little trap, is a fucking plant. It's like a Venus flytrap. I'm like, holy shit. So this creature we saw above isn't the real form. It's like a fucking plant at the end. Something like from the original Star Wars. I believe it was the third or no, it was probably the Empire Strikes Back, I believe. I kind of forget the Star Wars lineup, but you get what I'm talking about. It's the one where Boba Fett gets sucked into the plant, and the remastered one. I'm like, yeah, this is something straight out of Star Wars, I swear to God. But sorry, I digress. Again, we do see Morgiana jumping into the trap, and guess what? Her chains, yeah, I like their chains, but her household vessel comes out, and she's using them to the fullest, and it defeats the creature already. I was like, really? So Morgiana is using the chains as if they were part of her arms, like an extension of her arms, and they look fucking amazing. But we're taking to a different scene with Morgiana and her household vessel in general. They transform somewhat to save her before being, eaten by this plant. And her household vessel is called Elmo, not just Elmo, but it's like Elmol, A-M-O-L. It's a tongue twister if I keep saying it so many times, but it's called Amol, A-M-O-L, Emol Solsela or something like that. I just call it the household vessel AS. That makes more sense. Anyways, her chains are now on fire, and the fake Zoggin, or I should say the fake Dajin in general, is defeated by Morgiana. Really? I thought Alibaba would have had this one, but no, he's still up top. And then Morgiana passes out because she used so much Magio, so we're taken to a different scene with the group in general. And now that this monster has been defeated, its fake form above is now vanished, so it's now dead. So the group, Aladdin's group, goes all the way down. They retrieve Morgiana, and they find out she's kind of dying because her Magio, her life force, has been sucked out and dried because she used her household vessel to its fullest right now. And they're kind of worried because all of her Magio's gone. She's bleeding. But it was an amazing fight because I didn't think she'd be able to pull this off. And she's bleeding, and it looks like she's going to die. And it's a sad moment for Morgiana, and I was kind of crying. I'm like, no, Morgana's not going to die. Manga-wise, she's not going to die. She's here, she's going to stay. So in the anime, just putting that out there, Morgiana is not going to die. But right now, it's a sad scene, so we're taken to a different scene. Now, after everyone else retrieves Morgiana, they move on to the treasure room in order to find this Dajin to heal her, as well as obviously take the curse off of Alibaba and Sinbad in general. And guess what? While they were fighting this fake clone, the organization was watching them from a distance. Just putting that out there. So the organization has already caught up to Alibaba and everyone else, and on their way to the treasure room, they get jumped by the organization. And guess what? Isnan is there. Isnan and two of his subordinates, just putting that out there. And guess what? Isnan not only is working for the organization, but he wants what Aladdin has, his Solomon's wisdom. So again, Isnan wants Aladdin's wisdom of Solomon, and also wants Alibaba's life. And again, that's where the episode ends in general. As for final thoughts, well, first of all, Isnan, what are you going to do once you have Solomon's wisdom? Are you going to keep the power for yourself or give it to the organization? We really don't know. Moving on past that, what is Sinbad going to do to Judel? Is he actually going to finally get off his fucking horse and attack him? I mean, he's got 7 goddamn Dajin. Use them. I mean, you're fighting a Magi. It doesn't get any better than that. Unless you fight all 3 of the Magi in general, then that's even more of a fight. So get off your high horse and fucking do something. Even though you're cursed, do something. And moving on past that, what about this 61st Dajin, Zoggin? Now that we know that wasn't the real Zoggin, that was an imposter. I'm wondering, now that we know what he looks like, because this creature was in his form, I'm wondering what kind of person or Dajin he really is. I mean, is he kind of evil, or is he actually understanding, like a good guy in general? Just putting that out there, of course. And that is it for my final thoughts. As per my rating, 4 out of 5. I want to give this a 4.5 out of 5 because Morgiana was on fire this episode, but I don't know, I wasn't feeling it just there. Just enough to give it a 4 out of 5. Was there any drama? Yeah, Morgiana looked like she was going to die. The drama was there. No, there's no romance. I'm not going to go there. Was there a lot of good fight scenes? Yeah, there was a couple good fight scenes, so I can definitely score points there. Was there any information given to us? Judel gave us a lot of good information, and this fake Dajin gave us some information. Other than that, Not really. Maybe Isnan kind of gave us some, but it wasn't a lot that I'd really go on. Judel, for the most part, gave us the most information in this episode. So again, final rating 4 out of 5. And again, guys, that ends it for my walkthrough review of Magi episode 22. But definitely comment down below. Let me know. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Definitely subscribe. Check me out on Twitter and follow me if you like. But let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you think's gonna happen in the next episode that's coming out. But again, guys, that ends it for now. And I gotta hit the bricks, and I gotta go. And before I go, I gotta say it, and I always say it: you can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.